profile to join me on all my other pages. I am on Facebook, I am on Instagram, I am on Threads, I am on TikTok. I have hundreds of support videos for you here on YouTube. I also have a Facebook group called Safe Space for Artists that you are welcome to join and post your art. Today, I want to talk a little bit about art gallery horror stories, things that go awry or horribly wrong in dealing with art galleries. This is one of my live feeds. This is an opportunity for you to ask me anything, everything. I do some artist coaching for which I charge a good amount for private guidance because of my years in the industry and because I value my time. But when I do live feeds, it is your opportunity to ask me anything and everything. Today's topic, though, which you can find on my blog in writing, is about those art gallery horror stories. And I want to preface this with saying that art galleries are not inherently good or bad. I actually have some wonderful relationships with a number of galleries. I think that right now or recently I was up to about 8 galleries that I was in across the country. I would say that more than half are good relationships. Several I am looking to cut and end and never look back on because of things that I am running into there. And that's the stuff that I'm going to talk about right now. And I'm going to share some of my past experiences too. So what it ultimately comes down to, though, when it comes to galleries is relationships. Galleries are businesses run by people. People are fallible. People make mistakes. Some people are good at art. Some people are good at business. Some people are good at both. Some people are good at neither. Some people are unethical, and some people are extremely ethical and caring. So it comes down to who you work with more than just saying that galleries are good or galleries are bad. We are living in a time where galleries are facing more challenges, particularly brick and mortar galleries, because expenses are high, cost of living is high, and people don't have the disposable income they have in past years. So that means that galleries might be a little tighter on certain things. They might be undesirably kind of running a little late on some of those payments or not paying at all. Some galleries are closing down, and God, what happens when that happens? It's nuts. And I have heard stories about artists never getting their work back, never getting paid. It happens more than it should realistically. And that's one of the things that I like to do is to be transparent about my experiences as a professional artist. So I'm going to share a couple things that I have experienced over the years. I have had galleries not pay me on time. I've had galleries not pay me at all. I've had galleries pay me the incorrect amount. I've had galleries damage expensive works that were valued at over $10,000. I've had galleries damage framing. I've had galleries misplace things. I had a gallery misplace a piece, try to tell me they never had it, and then the painting appeared in the pages of Architectural Digest. And it turns out that the gallery had sold the painting, never told me, never compensated me for it. These things really do happen to artists. It's nuts. I have had recently a gallery that I shipped work to across the country. I signed a contract with certain terms, and the artwork got there. It sat there wrapped up, never even unwrapped for over a month. And then the gallery contacted me and said, hey, we have this opportunity come up. If you would like your art to be featured, it's going to cost this much. I did not sign up for a vanity gallery or a vanity opportunity. I signed up for a commission-based opportunity with a traditional commercial gallery. So that was a red flag and an immediate indication that it was time to get out of that gallery. So I made the call to do so, and I tried to be diplomatic about it, but the gallery was on the other side of the country. So then it was a matter of collecting my work. This gallery did everything they could to be a problem in collecting my work. They changed the date, they changed the time, they changed the location, they changed the point of contact. They changed or went back on information in their correspondence. They just tried to be as much of a problem as possible, knowing that I was an artist that didn't have a lot of money on the other side of the country and that they could just make my life tough to be an ass. And sometimes people do that. And galleries know sometimes that artists don't have a lot of resources. And that is one of the reasons that a lot of artists are targeted repeatedly for scams and that they're taken advantage of because people think that artists won't fight back. And oftentimes they don't because they don't have the resources to. A lot of artists are so eager, or sometimes you could even say desperate for opportunities, particularly opportunities to show in galleries, that they'll accept whatever terms are presented or whatever is thrown their way. So artists sometimes aren't doing their due diligence to hold galleries accountable to the contracts, but I can assure you that the gallery would almost assuredly hold you accountable to that contract. So it's one of the reasons why it's important for artists to touch up on the business savvy and to maybe take some business classes or to learn about business or to at least learn through your experiences so that as you move forward you can avoid some of the pitfalls. And that's one of the reasons that I like to share my pitfalls and my stumbles and be transparent about it to help you on this journey so you could have a better experience. Because one of the things that I shared earlier on Facebook was that I'm not an artist that came from great abundance. I had to work 3, 4 jobs to put myself through college, and I have stumbled over and over again, had to build myself up, recreate myself time and time again. But I feel like that's one of the reasons that I'm successful as an artist, or I see myself as successful as an artist, because I'm always willing to adapt and find the creative solutions. And that's really the key to making it as an artist. And you don't necessarily have to go the gallery route. You can do it on your own. It's one of the things that I'm going to look forward to doing more as I move forward, is cutting back on those galleries and really only working with the ones that seem like the relationships make sense for me. But I did have a couple more things to share with you in terms of, oh my God, a gallery did that. So here's one that I'm dealing with right now. I have a gallery on the other side of the country that has over $100,000 worth of my work. Per the contract, the gallery is responsible for shipping the work back at their cost. My work has been ready to ship back for 6 months. It has not been shipped back. There was another gallery that wanted the work. Because it has not been shipped back, I couldn't give the gallery the work, so opportunity lost. The gallery told me that they do not have the funds right now to ship the work back. However, just this past month, this gallery did an event for Miami Art Week called Art Miami. Look up what a booth costs at Art Miami. I believe that the cheapest booth is like $25,000 plus expenses. So this is something that I'm not particularly happy about, and I have to find a way to navigate the situation. I did follow up with the gallery this past week. I am looking for an answer. I'm trying to give them a little grace and a little time. I do try to avoid burning bridges if I can, because the art world is small and you don't want to get blackballed or labeled as a problem. But at the same time, you do need to protect yourself. And if you are in compliance with the contract, I mean, the gallery wrote the contract. I upheld my terms. If they're not upholding the terms of their own contract, really they are liable. But here's the thing, is that oftentimes when artists run into problems with galleries, what people say is, well, you got to sue them, you got to sue them. Here's the reality of life. In order to sue somebody, you have to have time, money, and the emotional energy to navigate this thing. Artists typically do not have that. The gallery probably has that in greater abundance. The other thing that you have to take into consideration is jurisdiction. Because in this case, the gallery is on the other side of the country, I am 99% certain that that would fall under the jurisdiction of that region, meaning I would also have to fly out there to deal with these things. Not really possible. So the best case scenario is to try to deal with it diplomatically, be able to walk away with nobody too upset. But unfortunately, people don't always do the right things, and that does not always happen. Sometimes artists get burned, and I have learned that sometimes I willingly take calculated risks, but in taking those risks, there may be losses, and sometimes I have to accept those losses. Now, that's not one that I'm going to take, and I do believe that the gallery has every intention of shipping the work back. They're just being difficult in the delay, and I think that they are overstepping a little bit. So what I'm trying to do is finesse the situation where maybe they put some of my work back up to at least give me some visibility for the potential losses that I'm taking from not being able to give it to another gallery. And I have other collectors that are interested in a couple of the pieces. In theory, if the gallery had done me right, I would send those people to the gallery to potentially purchase the work. But because of how the situation has been handled, I am no longer willing to send potential collectors to that gallery. And this is something that happens, is if somebody burns you, you're much less inclined to want to operate in good faith and to do right by them. So that's why it's so important to just find relationships, healthy relationships, where you take care of each other. But those are tough to find because galleries don't often have openings, particularly good galleries that have success in selling and that have good relationships with their artists. Because if a gallery is successful, sells a lot of work, has good relationship with the artists, there's not really room for them to take on more artists. They have a formula that works and they typically stick to it. So if you see a gallery with a bunch of openings, it is often a red flag. Something that you can do to avoid some of the pitfalls that I described is to vet your galleries. And what I mean by that is check out the gallery, reach out to 3 to 5 artists that have worked with the gallery for a considerable amount of time, and it has to be a considerable amount of time so that the data is there. See what they say. Did the artists get paid on time? Did they get paid the right amounts? Was their work ever damaged? Did the gallery essentially do the things that they said they would do in the contract? And that'll kind of give you an idea of how the gallery operates and whether or not it's worth taking the chance. And if you decide you want to gamble with that, well, then you're making a conscious decision to gamble with that. One of the things that can be tricky is new galleries, because new galleries haven't been there long enough to have the data available. So new galleries can be a risk. Maybe it goes bad, but maybe it's an opportunity for you to build from the ground up. And as long as you get out earlier rather than later, if there is a problem, oftentimes you might be okay and it might get you a little bit of experience, a couple things for the resume. But we have to take chances as artists. I get it. And we are looking for opportunities. We want our work to be sold. A lot of us don't want to manage the business side of things. Believe me, I don't want to myself. But I've learned over time that nobody's going to market me or promote me the way that I do. And in learning to do the things myself, I have a greater understanding of the business of art, and it allows me to avoid some of the problems that I could run into. And some of the problems that I've run into in the past couple of years were because I took chances and I knew what could come of it. But I'm willing to take the losses in some of these cases, and I'm willing to adapt and find the creative solutions. And I think that moving forward, I am going to be shifting back to doing a lot of stuff on my own. If I am going to take on new galleries, because I plan on dumping a couple, I'm going to be very particular about the galleries that I work with. I'm going to be very particular about the terms, maybe even say, okay, well, if I'm going to work with you, I need you to make these amendments to the contract. And if they're not willing to, then I can just walk away. But this kind of puts me in the driver's seat and gives me a little buying power to not be desperate. And sometimes just not being desperate can do wonders for your career. One of the other issues where I have had, or that I have had with galleries in the past couple years is, and this is one I've had with several galleries, is poor communication. I guarantee you that if somebody's potentially interested in buying something, the gallery is going to be very responsive. I like to check in with my galleries, whether it be monthly or quarterly, and just say, hey, I want to make sure things are going okay. Is there any interest in my work? Is there anything else you need from me? Are there any promotional materials that I can use to help promote the gallery and myself? And I have several galleries that are just absolutely non-responsive to communication. I can't work like that. And several of the galleries that I'm planning to drop are galleries that have that poor communication, because it just tells me that they don't respect me. They see me as a way to make money. But aside from that, they simply do not respect me, because anytime I do business with anybody, I am somewhat responsive. And if it's just asking, hey, I just want to check in on my work because you have X amount of dollars in my inventory, I don't feel like it's asking a lot to just want to know if things are okay and moving forward and still on track, or if something needs to be changed. But again, people are people. Not everybody communicates well. Not everybody knows how to do business in an ethical way or to successfully run a business. And that was a big mistake that I made as a younger artist, was thinking that, hey, it's a gallery, it's a professional business, it's going to be run professionally. The art world is wild, and that is not always the case. So there's much more that we could say about this topic, but you can check out the full story on my blog. I'll try to do more of these live talks on YouTube in the future. I've kind of been pivoting how I operate, how I do business, how I do the socials. But you can find me on every other platform that I'm on via my link tree in my profile. I hope you have a good day. Stay safe, be well, and I hope this helped you at least a little bit.